When I woke up, I had lost my memory. I discovered that I was married to the childhood friend I had secretly loved for years. I thought I would be happy, overjoyed. But the moment he touched me, I felt an overwhelming sense of disgust. I had lost my memory. When I woke up in the hospital, I saw Mu Cheng keeping watch by my bedside. He looked exhausted, his eyes bloodshot, and the moment he saw me wake up, he immediately grabbed my hand. "Wanwan, how are you feeling?" Instinctively, I felt disgusted and quickly pulled my hand back. After doing this, I froze, and Mu Cheng's hand stiffened too. "Wanwan, you Mu Cheng's voice was hoarse. I forced an awkward smile and deliberately changed the subject. "Brother Mu Cheng, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be with your girlfriend?" Mu Cheng paused for a moment, muttering softly. "Brother Mu Cheng, girlfriend." After whispering these words a few times, his eyes suddenly widened, unable to conceal his delight. I didn't understand why he was so happy all of a sudden. He took my hand again. "Wanwan, don't you remember? I don't have a girlfriend. You are my wife, my only wife. I love only you." I was stunned. I sat there in a daze, letting Mu Cheng hold my hand, not quite understanding what was happening. Just before I lost consciousness, he had been inseparable from Tan Ki, the campus belle. They had even gone abroad together to study. I always thought Mu Cheng would marry Tan Ki, but when I woke up, I found out that I was the one who had married him. Moreover, I realized that even though it felt like only a few hours had passed, it seemed I had lost all my love for Mu Cheng. Brother Mu Cheng and I were childhood friends. For as long as I could remember, Mu Cheng had been by my side. He was 3 years older than me, and our relationship had always been good. When we were young, he took me fishing, played games with me, and often helped me with my studies. We were practically inseparable, except during school hours. I was an only child, and so was he. Our families were very close, almost like old friends. When I was little, I often heard people say, "Why don't you and Mu Cheng just become a pair?" Back then, I didn't take it seriously, and would even get angry about it. Whenever Mu Cheng heard such comments, he would gently pat my head. "Sure, then I'll marry Wanwan when we grow up, so I can take care of her for the rest of her life." At the time, I would angrily push his hand away. "I don't want to marry you. HMPH. The adults just laughed when they heard our conversations. No one took these playful words seriously. At first I didn't either, but as time passed and I grew older, I realized I had actually fallen in love with him. I realized I was in love with Mu Cheng during my first year of high school. Back then, I was rebellious and loved skipping classes to go to internet cafes. No one could talk me out of it. My parents were at their wits' end, and even considered sending me abroad. One day, as usual, I skipped class to play games. Just as I was having fun, my earphones were suddenly pulled off. I looked up and saw Mu Cheng's face. His usually gentle expression was now tense. Without a word, Mu Cheng grabbed my hand and pulled me outside. I cried hysterically, refusing to go with him. "You have no right to tell me what to do. You're not my real brother." Mu Cheng wiped away my tears and sighed. "Wanwan, can you tell me why you don't want to study? Are you unhappy at school?" I cried even harder. When I skipped class and neglected my studies, my parents would only scold me. Only Mu Cheng would ask me why. I felt both touched and wronged. Tears streaming down my face, I told him, "I don't like school. The teachers don't like me, and the boys gossip about me behind my back. I'm not happy at all." Mu Cheng remained silent for a long time before pulling me into his arms. "Wanwan, don't be afraid. I'll make sure you get justice." As I breathed in the scent of soap on his clothes, my heart pounded like a drum. I realized I had fallen in love with him, not the kind of love for a brother, but the kind of love for a man. After that day, the school principal, my homeroom teacher, and the boys who had gossiped about me came to apologize one by one. I never doubted Mu Cheng's capabilities. His family was influential, and resolving such a matter was easy for him. Faced with their apologies, I mostly felt sweetness. I thought Brother Mu Cheng might have feelings for me too. Since we were little, he had only ever treated one girl this well, me. Back then, I naively believed that Mu Cheng would only have me, and I would only have him. I started studying hard, ignoring all external factors, pushing myself to the limit. My grades soared like a rising tide. And in the end, to everyone's astonishment, I was accepted into the best university in the country, the same university Mu Cheng attended. The moment I received my acceptance letter, I couldn't wait to confess my feelings to Mu Cheng. On a summer night, I shyly gave Mu Cheng a handmade necklace. "Brother Mu Cheng, I love you. Will you be with me?" When Mu Cheng heard my confession, he was taken aback at first. But after a few seconds of hesitation, he accepted the necklace. I heard him say, "Okay, let's be together." His voice was soft, but I caught his words. Overwhelmed with joy, I hugged him tightly. He paused for a moment before returning the embrace. At that moment, I felt like the happiest person in the world. Soon, many people at the university learned that I was dating Mu Cheng, the popular senior. He would wait for me downstairs every day, bring me breakfast, accompany me to class, and take me to concerts. He would hold my hand in public and tell others with a smile, "This is my girlfriend." My roommates often said enviously, "Won, how did you win over Senior Mu Cheng? And he treats you so well. He's the ideal boyfriend." I would always reply happily, "We're childhood sweethearts." My roommates would cheer, saying they were obsessed with our story. I was blissfully happy. With Mu Cheng's meticulous care, I felt like the luckiest person in the world. But as time passed, I began to feel increasingly uneasy. Mu Cheng rarely kissed me and seldom expressed his love. He often stared at his phone, sometimes sitting for an entire day without saying a word. At first, I thought it was just his personality, until another woman appeared. I first met Tan Ki at a university exhibition. Tan Ki, as an outstanding representative of international students, had returned from abroad and was invited by the university to attend the event. As I held Mu Cheng's hand at the exhibition, I saw the beautiful and graceful Tan Ki, wearing an elegant green cheongsam, chatting with our university president. At that moment, I inexplicably felt a sense of inferiority. I noticed Mu Cheng's gaze fixed on Tan Ki, his eyes filled with an emotion I had never seen before. When Tan Ki spotted Mu Cheng, she gracefully walked over. A smile played on her lips as her eyes swept over me. For some reason, I sensed a hint of disdain in her gaze. Tan Ki parted her red lips and extended her hand to Mu Cheng. "Long time no see, Mu Cheng." Mu Cheng shook her hand, his voice calm but seemingly holding back something. "Long time no see, Tan Ki." Tan Ki then turned to me with a smile. "You must be Mu Cheng's childhood friend. He often mentions you in our chats." As soon as she finished speaking, I felt the eyes of those around us shift to me. I instinctively corrected her. "No, you've misunderstood. I'm brother Mu Cheng's." Won, let's go." "There's nothing interesting here," Mu Cheng abruptly interrupted me. At that moment, I clearly heard the whispers around us, as if people were discussing something. I felt my entire body go cold. After that day, I learned from some seniors that Tan Ki was actually Mu Cheng's ex-girlfriend. They had dated for 3 years. It turned out that while I was secretly in love with Mu Cheng, he already had a girlfriend. When I confessed my feelings to Mu Cheng, Tan Ki had just broken up with him to study abroad. At that very moment, I had stepped in and become Mu Cheng's girlfriend. I couldn't sleep for several nights, constantly wondering if Mu Cheng had only accepted me because he needed a distraction. My heart ached. I wanted to call Mu Cheng and ask him, but I didn't know where to start. Mu Cheng still treated me well, catering to my every need, but I could clearly sense his distraction. His growing distance day by day became too much to bear. With tears in my eyes, I asked him, "Mu Cheng, did you just see me as a distraction while you were with Tan Ki? Do you really love me?" Mu Cheng hugged me, his voice weary. "I don't. Won, don't overthink it." "Then do you love me?" Tears streamed down my face. "Mu Cheng, have you ever loved me?" Mu Cheng remained silent, but his silence felt like a knife piercing my heart. I understood everything. He didn't love me. I, Lu Shiwan, proud as I was, should have broken up with a man who didn't love me. But years of affection made me unwilling to let go so easily. I swallowed my pride. I told myself that I was Mu Cheng's girlfriend now, and we had been childhood friends for so many years. Surely, he would come to love me eventually. I endured and endured. Even when I noticed Mu Cheng taking longer to reply to my messages, even when he made excuses to avoid spending time with me, I still held back. Finally, I could no longer deceive myself. In a secluded corner of the campus, I saw Mu Cheng holding Tan Ki, kissing her with devotion. His eyes were closed, completely absorbed. He had never looked like that when kissing me. When he kissed me, his eyes were always open, his gaze clear and aware. But when he kissed Tan Ki, he looked infatuated, deeply in love. So this was the difference between love and not loving. After what felt like an eternity, I heard Tan Ki ask, "When are you going to break up with that childhood friend of yours? I can't keep being the other woman like this." Mu Cheng's voice was as gentle as ever, but his words chilled me to the bone. "Kiki, how could you be the other woman? You are everything to me. In love, the one who isn't loved is the third party." I suddenly laughed, tears streaming down my face as I did. So in Mu Cheng's heart, I was the third party. I was the obstacle in his and Tan Ki's love story. But it was him who had accepted my confession in the first place. If he didn't love me, why did he agree to be with me? Couldn't he have just rejected me? Did he think I would force him to be with me? At that moment, I felt like a complete joke. Perhaps my laughter was too loud, because it startled the two of them. I saw a flicker of panic in Mu Cheng's usually calm eyes. He hurriedly tried to approach me, but Tan Ki held him back. He looked at me, opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. My head felt heavy, tears blurring my vision, but I held on to my last shred of dignity. I heard myself say, "Mu Cheng, let's break up. I'll step aside for you." After returning, I fell seriously ill. News of Mu Cheng and Tan Ki getting back together quickly spread across campus. My roommates took turns caring for me, cursing Mu Cheng and Tan Ki with every foul word imaginable. As for me, I could only smile bitterly. Later, I heard from my roommates that Mu Cheng was planning to go abroad with Tan Ki, and they cursed him again. By the time I recovered, Mu Cheng and Tan Ki had already left the country. When I returned to class, I could feel the sympathetic glances from my classmates. Of course, a girl betrayed by her childhood sweetheart deserved pity, didn't she? I wandered through life in a daze for a long time. Being betrayed in my first relationship left me unable to move on. One day, as I wandered aimlessly around campus, I wasn't paying attention and collided with a speeding bicycle. I lost consciousness. When I woke up, everything had changed. Mu Cheng told me we were married, but it still felt unreal. Frowning, I looked at him. Mu Cheng gripped my hand tightly. "Wan, we've been married for 2 years. I love you deeply, and you love me too." We entered our marriage with our parents' blessings. The hand he held felt like it was being crawled over by a snake. It was unbearable. Utterly unbearable. Mu Cheng's touch didn't bring me joy instead. It made me sick to my stomach. No, this was definitely not how it felt to love someone. At that moment, I was certain. Not only did I not love Mu Cheng, I despised him body and soul. I didn't understand, nor could I make sense of it. Why had everything changed so much after waking up? Mu Cheng and I were married. He seemed deeply in love, but I felt nothing for him. Was it because I couldn't accept the betrayal I had witnessed? But it didn't feel that simple. My feelings for him now were as if all emotion had vanished in an instant. No love, only aversion and disgust. Instinctively, I tried to pull my hand back, but he held on tightly, refusing to let go. I stared at Mu Cheng for a long moment before slowly saying, "Brother Mu Cheng, I'm not feeling well. Could you let me rest alone for a while?" Mu Cheng looked at me for a long time without saying a word. His eyes held emotions I couldn't decipher. The atmosphere made me uneasy, and I slowly curled into myself. I was afraid of this side of Mu Cheng. After what felt like an eternity, Mu Cheng finally released my hand. He forced a smile and said gently, "Then rest well, Wan. I'll step outside for now." With that, he leaned in to kiss my forehead. I quickly turned my head away. My body's reaction was faster than my thoughts. It was as if my entire being was rejecting Mu Cheng from the inside out. Mu Cheng froze, his eyes slowly reddening as he looked at me. I could hear his rapid breathing. He was holding back, I knew. After a long pause, I heard him say, Wan, I'll leave now." After resting in the hospital for several days, my condition finally improved enough for me to move around. During this time, not only did Mu Cheng stay by my side every day, but both sets of parents also visited regularly. From their conversations, I gradually learned about my current situation. 5 years had passed since the bicycle accident. I had married Mu Cheng during my senior year of university, and in everyone's eyes, we were a happy couple. My parents were very satisfied with Mu Cheng. They also told me that 3 years ago, when my father's investment failed, Mu Cheng had stepped in to help, saving our family's business. After hearing all this, I was silent for a long time before finally saying to Mu Cheng, "Thank you." Mu Cheng stepped forward and hugged me tightly. In a voice only the two of us could hear, he whispered, "One, we're husband and wife. You don't need to thank me. If you really want to show your gratitude, make it up to me once you recover. It's been a long time since I wasn't a naive child anymore." I understood his implication immediately. My entire body went cold. The image of Mu Cheng kissing Tanki replayed in my mind over and over. I thought to myself, this man had probably done such things with Tanki countless times, and now he wanted to do them with me. The mere thought of hugging Mu Cheng now made me feel sick. How could I possibly agree to be intimate with him? I wanted to push him away, but with my parents watching, I had to suppress the disgust rising within me and let him hold me. At that moment, the thought of divorce flashed through my mind repeatedly. The reason I lost consciousness this time was a fall from the second floor, so it was indeed quite serious. I stayed in the hospital for over a month before finally recovering. I kept wanting to know what had happened during those 5 years, why I'd fallen from the second floor, but Mu Cheng only insisted that we were deeply in love and refused to say anything else. Moreover, Mu Cheng was particularly averse to me asking about the bicycle accident from 5 years ago. While in the hospital, I casually mentioned, "I wonder what happened after I was hit by that bicycle 5 years ago. Before I passed out, I remember the boy riding, it seemed quite handsome. I don't even know how I got to the hospital back then." After saying that, I chuckled softly, feeling a sudden, inexplicable happiness. When I turned my head, I noticed Mu Cheng's face had turned deathly pale. He suddenly grabbed my hand, his voice trembling. "That's in the past, okay? What happened in those 5 years isn't important. What matters is our future." I was confused. "But you said we were deeply in love. Why don't you want me to remember those 5 years?" Mu Cheng forced a smile. "What I mean is, what's past is past. We'll love each other even more in the future." Looking at Mu Cheng's pale face, I sensed something was wrong. I was certain I didn't love Mu Cheng now, and this lack of love couldn't have formed suddenly. There was only one possibility. Something must have happened during those 5 years that made me lose all feelings for Mu Cheng, even feel disgust. On Saturday morning, Mu Cheng took me back to the place where we lived together. The moment I saw the house, I was still somewhat shocked. This was the kind of house I had mentioned to Mu Cheng during our university days. I had said I wanted to live in a small villa not too big, but preferably with a little garden. This villa indeed had a small garden, filled with various flowers, clearly carefully designed. Inside the house, I was even more astonished. Every detail seemed decorated according to my preferences. Mu Cheng had indeed put serious effort into preparing our marital home. But for some reason, seeing this house that perfectly matched my tastes, I felt not moved, but a strong sense of rejection. A vague image suddenly flashed in my mind. On a quiet night under a sky full of stars, I was kissing a man. I couldn't see the man's face clearly, but in that instant, my heart felt full happy, joyful. Mu Cheng held my hand, smiling at me. "Well, do you like it?" Instead of answering his question, I suddenly asked, "Mu Cheng, have we ever kissed under the stars on a rooftop?" Mu Cheng's smile froze. After a moment, he continued smiling and asked me, "Are you remembering something?" I shook my head. "No, just a vague image." Mu Cheng's expression remained normal. "It was indeed us, One. You've only ever had me, you know? And you've only ever loved me, understand?" He pulled me into his arms. One, I know I wronged you. I shouldn't have acted that way back then. But I regret it. I deeply regret it. Now, you're the only one in my heart, so just love me too, okay?" He looked at me carefully, his eyes filled with intense emotion. I felt extremely uncomfortable and tried to pull back, but Mu Cheng still held me tightly. He held me so tightly, as if afraid of losing something. Mu Cheng kept telling me, One, we love each other. We're meant to be. Who else could you love if not me?" Just like I only love you. Mu Cheng's obsessive demeanor frightened me. Trembling, I couldn't say a word. In a daze, I seemed to see also in this house Mu Cheng holding me in his arms, kissing my lips. I tried to escape, but was pressed down onto the sofa by the man. He grabbed my ankles and pulled me beneath him. His eyes were bloodshot. One, can you still not forget him? Snapping out of the memory, I felt a splitting headache. Tears streaming down my face in large drops. I screamed, "No! I'm not yours, I'm not." Mu Cheng's entire body stiffened. I felt the hands holding me begin to tremble. My face was covered in tears. "Brother Mu Cheng, I don't love you. I really don't love you. Can't you just stop treating me like this?" Mu Cheng released me and slowly wiped the tears from my face. One, you're talking nonsense again." "I'm not talking nonsense," I said seriously, looking at Mu Cheng. "I don't love you. I don't know how I married you, but I'm certain I have no feelings for you." The man closed his eyes and took a deep breath. I knew he was suppressing his anger. He tried to remain calm. One, you've lost your memory, so you're saying things you don't mean. Don't say such things again, understand? Just remember, you only love me, and I will treat you well from now on. This time, there will be no one else. Looking at Mu Cheng's obsessed, almost pathological expression, I finally realized he might not be entirely normal. That night, after showering, I lay in bed. Mu Cheng hugged me from behind. My body tensed. After our unpleasant conversation that morning, Mu Cheng had left. I thought he wouldn't return, but to my surprise, he came back in the evening. A bad feeling crept over me. It seemed he intended to do something. Sure enough, seeing I didn't resist, Mu Cheng began occasionally kissing the back of my neck. A shiver ran through me. Finally unable to bear it, I started struggling. "Brother Mu Cheng, I'm still not used to the fact that we're married, and I really don't have feelings for you right now. So, can we sleep separately for now?" But Mu Cheng just smiled, pressed me into his embrace, and his kisses grew more fervent. One, don't say you don't like me anymore. It upsets me. We're husband and wife. We should be together. You need to get used to it. He pinned me down and kissed my lips. My eyes widened. The feeling of disgust in my heart was impossible to suppress. I couldn't forget how Mu Cheng had kissed Tan Ki. Even when I loved him, I couldn't forgive it, let alone now. Finally unable to stand it, I turned my head and began retching. Mu Cheng stopped and just looked at me. He patted my chest, suppressing his emotions. "Did you eat too much at dinner?" I knew he was avoiding the issue. After suppressing the nausea, I sniffled and said to him, "I'm sorry, Brother Mu Cheng. I'm particular. Seeing you with Tan Ki like that. I can't accept it." I saw tears fall from Mu Cheng's eyes. After a long while, he said slowly, One, do you despise me?" After that day, Mu Cheng and I seemed to enter a cold war. He began deliberately avoiding me in his actions. Mu Cheng didn't initiate conversation, and I was perfectly content with that. I didn't want to talk to him either. All I wanted now was to get as far away from Mu Cheng as possible. If possible, I even wished I could separate from him immediately. Although Mu Cheng rarely spoke to me, whenever he came home, he would just watch me. His gaze made my scalp tingle. Every time I met his eyes, he would instinctively look away. This strange living situation between us lasted nearly 2 weeks. Finally, one day he couldn't resist and spoke to me first. One, if I don't talk to you, you really won't talk to me. That day, it was clearly your fault. There was a hint of grievance in his voice. I looked at him, my eyes devoid of any emotion. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have been disgusted by you." I apologized calmly. "But it's not something I can control. You know that I can't accept how you treated me before." As soon as I finished speaking, Mu Cheng's expression changed again. His face paled, his hands clenched into fists. I knew he was holding back. I knew he was upset. But what did that have to do with me? Seeing him so distressed, I even felt a strange, inexplicable sense of satisfaction. I hoped he would lose control soon and bring up divorce himself. If he mentioned divorce, I would agree immediately and even offer to leave with nothing. I had my response ready. As long as I could break free from him, I would be happy. But Mu Cheng said nothing about separation. He took my hand and smiled. One, I'll prove my love for you through my actions. But I just looked at him, unmoved. Once upon a time, I might have yearned for his love. But now I needed nothing, wanted none of his love. When I didn't love him, everything he did was wrong. Even a declaration of love felt disgusting to me. In the noisy hall, I watched expressionlessly as people approached Mu Cheng with glasses in hand, trying to strike up conversations. Tonight was a banquet hosted by the head of the Jiang family, inviting many elites from high society. Mu Cheng, as the new CEO of A City's largest food company, was naturally on the guest list. As his wife, I was forced to attend. Truthfully, I didn't like such places. I wouldn't have cared if Mu Cheng had brought another companion. But Mu Cheng insisted on bringing me. I heard people around us complimenting what a perfect match Mu Cheng and I were. Mu Cheng smiled, pulling me into his arms, occasionally kissing my forehead. My expression remained indifferent. Mu Cheng kept attending to me, tirelessly asking if there was anything I liked to eat. I just smiled without answering. I couldn't even be bothered to pretend anymore. Mu Cheng's eyes dimmed, but he continued holding me. He watched me closely. Wherever I went, he followed. We maintained this bizarre, tense calm between us, until a familiar, beautiful face appeared not far from me. I heard people nearby discussing her. Isn't that Tan Qi from the Tan family? She's back from abroad. I thought the Tan family had declined. How did she get in here? What do you know? The Tan and Jiang families have some connections. Who knows, maybe the Tan family sent their pretty daughter here for a reason. You have to admit, Tan Qi is beautiful. I heard she had a past with CEO Mu. She stopped talking. Mrs. Mu is right here. Under the shifting lights, I saw Tan Qi's lovely face blossom into a flower-like smile. She suddenly looked over, met my eyes, then gave me a graceful smile, her eyes still holding the same ambition and determination as before. After a moment of slight shock, my emotions slowly settled. I politely smiled back. I didn't know she'd be back. I really don't like her at all anymore. Please don't misunderstand. Mu Cheng beside me tightened his grip on my waist. His voice flustered. I tilted my head to look up at Mu Cheng, and noticed his face had turned pale. I smiled indifferently. It's fine. It's just a chance encounter. If you really want to see her, I understand. After all, she was your first love. As soon as I finished speaking, I saw Mu Cheng's body sway slightly. You don't care at all. Why would I care? I was even thinking that if Tan Qi could actually help me get a divorce from Mu Cheng, I'd be grateful to her. Mu Cheng had brought up intimacy with me several times these past few days. He'd even hinted at it to my parents. Yesterday, my parents actually called, telling me to be more considerate of Mu Cheng. I could only placate them. Over there, Tan Qi was gazing deeply at Mu Cheng. Here, Mu Cheng was holding me tightly. Stuck between them, I felt torn. Look, Mu Cheng and Tan Qi were such a perfect pair. Why drag me into it? I wondered if I should leave first. Give Tan Qi and Mu Cheng a chance to rekindle their old flame? I turned to Mu Cheng. Mu Cheng, I'm going to the restroom to touch up my makeup. Mu Cheng didn't want to let go. I'll come with you. No need, I said, pushing him away with a faint smile. It's just the restroom. Do I need an escort? I'm not that delicate. My half-joking tone seemed to reassure Mu Cheng. He thought for a moment, then nodded and let me go. So, I stayed in the restroom for quite a while. I checked the time on my phone, calculating if it was enough for them to have a heart-to-heart. But before I left, I ran into Tan Qi in the restroom area. I looked at Tan Qi. She looked at me. Tan Qi smiled at me. After a moment's thought, I gave her a slight nod. Truthfully, Tan Qi and I had never met privately. Even though we had both dated Mu Cheng, we weren't really acquainted. Miss Liu, long time no see. I never expected you to actually marry Mu Cheng. There was a challenge in Tan Qi's eyes. I replied calmly. I also never expected the one to finally marry brother Mu Cheng wasn't you. With that, I turned and headed out of the restroom. Tan Qi quickly caught up, blocking my path. In the empty corridor, it was just her and me. Tan Qi looked indignant. Miss Liu, are you mocking me? Don't think that just because you've won now, you've won forever. Aching will We'll talk about the future when it comes, I interrupted her. If you're unwilling and still love Mu Cheng, you should go to him, not me. Tan Ki's eyes widened slightly. She looked at me searchingly. After a long moment, she suddenly laughed. I never imagined. Miss Liu doesn't love Mu Cheng, huh? So after all these years, Mu Cheng still hasn't won your heart? Could it be you still haven't forgotten Tan Ki? A cold male voice sounded from the side. Both Tan Ki and I looked over to see Mu Cheng staring at us, expressionless. Mu Cheng strode over, pulling me into his embrace. Without a word, he led me away. Mu Cheng, what are you afraid of? Tan Ki shouted from behind. Are you afraid she doesn't love you? But Mu Cheng, do you think she could ever love you again? The moment you chose me, she could never love you. Mu Cheng didn't even turn his head, his voice icy. Tan Ki, you'd better not provoke Wan. If you say something you shouldn't, don't blame me for being ruthless with your family. In the car, I remained absent-minded. When Mu Cheng helped me fasten my seatbelt, I just leaned back slightly. I kept thinking about Tan Ki's words. Ji. Why did this surname feel so familiar? Who was he? Did I know this person? Wan, don't mind what Tan Ki said just now. There's nothing between her and me anymore. I turned to look at Mu Cheng. The car was dark. I couldn't see his face clearly, but I could feel the oppressive atmosphere inside. Mu Cheng seemed afraid. But what was he afraid of? I said calmly, if you really like her, I won't stop you from going to her. After all, she's your true love. I understand. Not my true love, she's nothing. Mu Cheng's voice suddenly rose. He grabbed my hand in a panic. Wan. I know I was wrong. Back when I was abroad, I realized I had fallen in love with you. I didn't see my own heart clearly. It was my fault. I shouldn't have treated you that way. I was a scoundrel. But Wan, even criminals get a chance at forgiveness. Why can't I? I'll love you wholeheartedly from now on. Can't you give me one chance? By the end, his voice trembled slightly, as if he was choking back sobs. I was utterly perplexed. Mu Cheng was truly strange. Clearly he was the one who cheated. Why did it seem like I was in the wrong for not forgiving him? Why do scoundrels always find excuses for themselves? Mu Cheng, you're really something. This is the first time I've seen someone ask for forgiveness so righteously. Mu Cheng, you might have misunderstood something. The one who was unfaithful, the one who cheated, was you. Don't you know what kind of person I am? I never look back. I looked at him coldly and said cruelly, Mu Cheng, let's part amicably. Let's get a divorce. Mu Cheng tightly clasped my hand, intertwining our fingers. I tried to pull away, but his grip was too strong. I heard his cold voice. Wan, don't even think about getting rid of me. If I hadn't invested in your father's business back then, your family would have gone bankrupt. Did you think you could still be the young miss you are now? So Wan, you can never escape me in this lifetime. He unfastened his own seatbelt, leaned over, cupped my head, and pressed his lips against mine. Wan, tonight when we get home, we'll start trying for a child. With a child, you'll give up any thoughts of leaving. Nausea rose in my throat again, but I couldn't break free. At that moment, I finally understood why I had married him. That night, Mu Cheng carried me upstairs over his shoulder. I struggled fiercely. I knew what he intended to do. Mu Cheng pinned my hands, trying to kiss me. Wan, we're husband and wife. We're husband and wife. You can't reject me. I pushed against him. Get away from me. Mu Cheng was strong. In the chaos, I kicked him hard in the abdomen, and finally broke free. I glared at him hatefully. Mu Cheng, don't make me hate you. Mu Cheng clutched his stomach, smiling bitterly. Tears streamed down his face. Why? Wan, why? We're husband and wife. Why won't you? I love you so much. I really love you so much. His voice grew softer until he was just muttering helplessly. I love you so much. My face was covered in tears as I hugged myself. My emotions were nearing collapse. At that moment I shouted everything in my heart. Who wants your love? Mu Cheng. Why don't you go find Tan Ki? Isn't she your white moonlight? Your first love? The one you cheated with? Since you love her so deeply, Why not go to her? I don't want you. Mu Cheng looked at me, his eyes red and swollen from crying. He smiled bitterly. Won, you can't escape me. Even if you find me disgusting, even if you despise me, you're still my wife. In this lifetime, I won't let you go. I looked at him in silence. I knew I needed to find a way to leave. Entangling myself with Mu Cheng like this would only waste my time and energy. I, Lu Qiwan, never settle. After that day, while Mu Cheng was at work, I went back to my parents' house. When I arrived, my mother was playing with the dog in the garden. The moment she saw me, she looked incredulous. Won, why are you back? Did you have a fight with Mu Cheng? My mother watched me nervously, anxiety in her eyes. Exhausted, I said, Mum, could you please not mention Mu Cheng? I don't want to hear his name. Without a word, my mother walked up and slapped me across the face. The slap left my ears ringing. I stared at her, wide-eyed. My face hurt, but my heart hurt more. How dare you treat Mu Cheng like this? If it weren't for Mu Cheng, your father's company would have been finished long ago. How dare you offend Mu Cheng? Won, I don't care what the reason is. You go back right now and apologize properly to Mu Cheng, understand? My eyes were already red, but I fought hard to hold back the tears. I didn't understand why, after waking up, my mother was treating me this way. Since childhood, I had been doted on, given everything I wanted. Yet now, my mother had hit me because of Mu Cheng, because of a man who had hurt me. I let out a bitter laugh. Mum, so in your eyes, my value lies in maintaining your wealthy lifestyle. You don't care at all whether I'm happy or not, right? My mother glared at me, stubbornly insisting, You go back to Mu Cheng. Our family owes him. And doesn't Mu Cheng owe me? I shot back, my eyes red. Mu Cheng betrayed me in college. Didn't I tell you? Am I just supposed to accept being cheated on? Supposed to let a man who betrayed me disgust me? I continued. Mu Cheng disgusts me. The sight of him makes me sick. I will divorce him. Can't you think about your father and me? My mother cried. Can't you let your dad and me have a peaceful old age? I took a step back, ready to leave. Won. My mother grabbed my arm. All men make mistakes. Besides, Mu Cheng's mistake was before marriage. Now he treats you so well. He loves you so much, doesn't he? We women need to be more tolerant. You married him back then. If you could endure it then, why can't you now? Mum, don't try to control me. I cut her off. Women need to be more tolerant. Who told you that? Besides, people change. I don't know why I agreed to marry him back then, but I can't tolerate him now. I'm not like you, Mom. You can endure Dad keeping mistresses outside for the sake of your wealthy lifestyle. I can't. Lu Xiwan's eyes can't tolerate a single grain of sand. With that, ignoring my mother's fury behind me, I turned and left. As I reached the gate of the yard, I saw Mu Cheng watching me. I froze for a moment. I didn't know how long he had been listening, but the shock lasted only an instant. I quickly regained my composure. Ignoring him, I moved to step around him and leave. Mu Cheng grabbed my hand, his voice low. Where are you going? I shook off his hand, ignored him, and walked straight out. Mu Cheng followed closely behind me. I couldn't be bothered with him. Planning to hail a taxi by the roadside and go to my best friend's place. I had made up my mind. No matter how difficult the path ahead, I had to separate from Mu Cheng. As I walked, grim-faced, toward the neighborhood entrance, an unfamiliar face suddenly appeared before me. I paused, slightly stunned. The man opposite me met my gaze, then seemed flustered himself. He turned hastily and started to leave. I don't know why, but normally introverted me felt an urgent need to chase after him. The man ran fast, disappearing from sight in just a few seconds. I panicked. For some reason, the tears I had been holding back moments before now streamed down my face the instant I saw this man. Won, come home with me. Mu Cheng pulled me tightly into his arms, his breathing uneven, seemingly very agitated. I heard him say, Won, don't go out these next few days. Stay by my side. You're not allowed to go anywhere. Get lost. How can you be so shameless? A crisp female voice rang out. I looked over and saw my best friend, Ju Yoayu. Behind her were several tall, burly bodyguards. Earlier, while chatting with Yoayu, I had mentioned I was going to my mother's place. I hadn't expected her to come pick me up. Mu Cheng, who do you think you are? You really think just because you helped inject funds into Wonwon's family business, you can keep her tied to you forever? I looked into you the other day. Did you think I wouldn't find out about your... Ju Yoai, shut your mouth. Mu Cheng's furious roar cut her off. He tightened his grip on my wrist. Why do you love meddling in other people's business so much? What's between Wonwon and me is none of your concern. Oh, so the scumbag gets embarrassed and angry too. Yoayu retorted, grabbing my other wrist while staring at Mu Cheng. Mu Cheng, what goes around comes around. I advise you to be a better person. I looked at Yuai, moved. Yuai, you came? When even my own mother seemed ready to give up on me, Yoayu had remained firmly by my side. Who else would come get you? Ju Yoai said with feigned annoyance. She turned to the bodyguards behind her. Hold this man down. With Mu Cheng restrained by the bodyguards, I was finally able to leave. I went to Yoayu's home. Looking at me, Yoai said sadly, Wonwon, I was only abroad for 3 years. How did you end up like this? I had only contacted Yoayu a few days ago and learned she had been abroad. During the time I lost my memory, I didn't even know she had left the country. I shook my head. I'm sorry, Yoayu. I've forgotten a lot. I lost my memory. You lost your memory? Yoayu interrupted. How could you lose your memory? You didn't forget Ji Ran, did you? The moment the name Ji Ran was spoken, my heart clenched. An intense ache spread through my chest. In that instant, I even felt like crying. I knew, even though I didn't recognize this person named Ji Ran, I must have loved him, deeply loved him. I could feel the powerful emotions buried deep in my heart. I suddenly thought of the unfamiliar, handsome man I had seen today. Yoayu anxiously grabbed my hand. Wonwon, what's wrong? Why are you crying? Choking back sobs, I asked. Yoayu, who is Ji Ran? Did I know him? You really forgot him? Wasn't he your ex-boyfriend? You even lived together for over a year. How could you forget him? Disbelief colored Yoayu's voice. I was stunned. In a flash, I seemed to see myself with a man in a cozy home. We were kissing, holding each other. In bed late at night. We were wrapped tightly in each other's arms. I felt a sharp, throbbing pain in my heart. Yoayu, oblivious, continued. You and Ji Ran were so deeply in love back then. Even when you loved that scumbag Mu Cheng the most, it probably wasn't half as much as you loved Ji Ran. I remember, right before my parents forced me to go abroad, you told me you were pregnant with Ji Ran's child. You were so happy, saying Ji Ran had proposed. How come, as soon as I come back, you're married to that scumbag Mu Cheng? The pain in my heart intensified. Hazily, I saw myself pressed close to a man again. The man rested his head against the woman's belly. Wonwon, I'm sorry. It's my fault. I didn't expect you to get pregnant even with protection. We'll get married next week. I'm sorry you have to enter marriage right after graduating, but I promise, I'll be a good husband and father. I love you, Wonwon. The woman's voice was gentle. I love you too, Ji Ran. The heartache was so intense I could barely breathe. I fainted. The year I was a freshman, I broke up with Mu Cheng. Maybe it wasn't just because I had loved Mu Cheng, but more because of the betrayal. It hurt deeply. I wandered through those days in a haze. After being hit by the bicycle that day, I lost consciousness. I was woken by voices. Young man, you look decent enough. How could you be so careless? Didn't you know your girlfriend has low blood sugar? Go home and make sure she eats properly. I'm sorry, doctor. I'll pay more attention. When I opened my eyes, I saw a slim, tall figure walk in. Looking closer, it was a handsome stranger. Seeing I was awake, he hurried over, full of concern. You're awake. I'm Ji Ran, a sophomore in the physics department. I'm so sorry. I wasn't paying attention earlier and hit you. I'll take full responsibility. I'll take care of you until you're completely better. Ji Ran. I silently repeated the name. I had heard this name before. He was known as the most handsome guy in the physics department. reportedly popular with many girls. I looked at the boy. He was watching me with puppy dog eyes. I smiled. It's okay, it was my fault. I didn't eat breakfast this morning and didn't see you riding. You don't need to blame yourself, so... No. I have to take care of you. Ji-Ran insisted urgently. I was at fault too. Please don't refuse. If you do, I'll worry. The boy's words were sincere and warm. For some reason, I agreed to his request. From then on, Ji-Ran and I grew closer. Ji-Ran was a cheerful guy with a great personality, very humorous, and at the top of his class academically. As I got to know him, I realized his good looks were the least noteworthy thing about him. He walked me to and from classes every day, often treated me to meals, and told me funny stories about his class, making me laugh until my sides hurt. Out of politeness, I would treat him back sometimes. The number of times I thought about Mu Cheng grew fewer and fewer. About 2 months later, when I thought of Mu Cheng, my heart felt strangely calm. Remembering how heartbroken I had been 2 months ago felt like a distant dream. Ji-Ran and I texted every day. We talked on the phone every night. One day after a call with Ji-Ran, a roommate suddenly asked with a grin, "Do you like Ji-Ran? Everyone in our class says you two are together. Is it true?" Other roommates gathered around, curious. My face flushed with embarrassment. "What are you talking about? We're just friends." "Just friends? Who believes that?" A roommate scoffed. "What friends talk on the phone every day? What friends make you smile like you're in love all the time?" In my opinion, this Ji-Ran is great. Good-looking, nice personality. Sincere to you much better than that cheating scumbag. Realizing she might have said too much, she quickly added, "Sorry, I didn't mean to bring up Mu Cheng." Unfazed, I said, "It's fine. He's in the past for me. Like you said, he's a scumbag. Why should I waste tears on a scumbag?" The roommates burst into laughter, saying I'd grown up. A week later, Ji-Ran confessed to me. It was an ordinary weekend, even drizzling a little. Ji-Ran said shyly, "Won, I've liked you for a long time. Since high school. Will you be with me?" I looked at him in surprise. "I saw you during a physics competition in high school." Ji-Ran met my gaze. Won, no matter what you've been through before, I'll love you well from now on." Even though it was drizzling, I felt incredibly warm. So, someone had loved me silently all along. I was worthy of love too. Shyly, I nodded. He hugged me excitedly. Walking me back to the dorm, he kept looking at me, and I smiled back. Just before parting, he asked shyly, "Can I kiss you? Can I kiss you?" I might not have much experience, but I nodded, then hugged him first. Under the dorm building, he held an umbrella with one hand, cupped my face with the other, and bent down. I closed my eyes and shyly met his lips. My heart pounded even more fiercely than when I had been with Mu Cheng. After being with Ji-Ran, I learned what a healthy relationship felt like. He texted me every day, walked me to and from classes, responded to everything I said. When I was sad, he patiently comforted me. He loved me deeply, and I loved him deeply too. I was sure. After 2 years of dating, right after he graduated, our parents met. His family was middle class, not exactly a perfect match for mine socially. Fortunately, my parents liked him and agreed to our relationship. In my junior year, we rented an apartment off campus and moved in together. I shyly gave myself to him, but I had no regrets. I believed we would definitely get married, until Mu Cheng returned. At the time, I had just started my senior year. With no classes, I spent my days studying for grad school entrance exams in the library. Ji-Ran was pursuing a master's degree at our university and was constantly busy. After studying, I prepared to take the bus home as usual, to the apartment I shared with Ji-Ran. At the school gate, I saw a familiar face. Mu Cheng. Having not seen him for so long, he felt like a stranger. Mu Cheng stared at me, then walked straight toward me. Before I could react, he grabbed my hand. Won, did you move dorms? I waited for you for a long time downstairs. Uncomfortable, I took a step back, pulling my hand free. Brother Mu Cheng, you're back? Perhaps my expression was too indifferent because Mu Cheng frowned. Won, He paused, then said, "One, I missed you." That sentence gave me such a shock I nearly dropped my bag. Was this guy out of his mind? I looked at him suspiciously. "Brother Mu Cheng, you have a girlfriend. Aren't you afraid Senior Tan will get angry?" One. Another familiar voice called from behind me. Before I could react, I was pulled into a familiar embrace. Ji Ran hugged me, kissing my cheek. "Wife, I finished my tasks early today. I'll go home and cook for you." I smiled, playfully hitting his chest. "You scared me again." One. Who is this?" Mu Cheng's voice cut in sharply. I had almost forgotten he was there. Ji Ran also looked at Mu Cheng. His expression changed. Well aware of Ji Ran's possessiveness, I quickly explained, "Husband, I just ran into him. I don't know anything." "Hus? Dand?" Mu Cheng muttered. I immediately introduced Ji Ran to Mu Cheng. "Brother Mu Cheng, this is my boyfriend, Ji Ran. We're getting engaged next month. Since you're here and we've known each other for so many years, remember to come celebrate with us." My attitude was polite, but unfortunately, Mu Cheng didn't seem to appreciate it. His face pale, he ignored me, just lowering his head silently, as if lost in thought. How rude, I thought inwardly, but I still smiled and said, "Well, Brother Mu Cheng, my boyfriend and I are heading home now. Goodbye." That night at home, Ji Ran. Well, let's just say he was very enthusiastic. Clearly he was quite jealous. Smiling, I ruffled his hair. "You're such a jealous one. I'm already yours. What's there to be jealous about?" The next day my neck was predictably covered in marks. Sighing, I let my hair down to cover them. Ji Ran left first in the morning. When I went out later, I saw an unfamiliar black car downstairs. But I didn't pay it much mind, until Mu Cheng stepped out. Instinctively, I greeted him. "Brother Mu Cheng, do you live here too?" Mu Cheng didn't answer, just asked, "You live with him?" I replied, "We're going to get married." Mu Cheng grabbed my shoulders like a madman. "How can you be with someone else? How can you love someone else? Have you forgotten me? Don't you care about me at all anymore?" Frightened by Mu Cheng, I couldn't speak. Mu Cheng suddenly hugged me. One, I was wrong. I really love you. I've realized I love you. Can you give me another chance? I don't care about you and Ji Ran. Can we get back together?" I struggled frantically. "Are you crazy? My boyfriend and I are perfectly fine. Let go of me." Mu Cheng suddenly froze. After a long moment, he released me. I stumbled back, terrified, his eyes fixed on my neck. "You slept with him?" Angry, my tone turned sharp. "We've been living together for a year. Isn't it normal to sleep together? Didn't you sleep with Tan Ki? What's wrong with you?" With that, I turned and left. I didn't see Mu Cheng again after that day. Meanwhile, Ji Ran and I received some good news. I was pregnant. I immediately told my parents and my best friend, who was abroad. My parents and my best friend told me to take good care of myself. Ji Ran was overjoyed too. He went home right away to discuss it with his parents. We had originally planned our wedding for the next month, and Ji Ran took even more care with the preparations. Worried that I might get too tired during the wedding and harm the baby, Ji Ran handled every detail meticulously. Seeing how much Ji Ran cared about me filled me with happiness from the inside out. I even started feeling grateful that Mu Cheng had betrayed me back then. Otherwise, how would I have met someone as wonderful as him? One day, after Ji Ran accompanied me to the hospital for a checkup, we ran into Mu Cheng. Thinking about it, I hadn't seen him for almost 2 weeks. Seeing him now felt a bit surreal. So Mu Cheng really was back. Those encounters a few days ago weren't a dream. When Mu Cheng saw Ji Ran and me, and the report in my hand, his expression changed instantly. He hurried over to me. One, are you feeling unwell?" Ji Ran looked at Mu Cheng warily. I patted Ji Ran's hand reassuringly. I didn't plan to hide it from Mu Cheng. I told him truthfully. Ji Ran and I came to the hospital for a checkup. "I'm pregnant." Mu Cheng's face turned deathly pale in an instant, as if struck by a tremendous blow. His hands began to tremble. Startled by his reaction, I quickly asked, "Brother Mu Cheng, Do you need to see a doctor? But Mu Cheng said nothing. He turned and walked away hurriedly, without another word. I didn't dwell on it too much. I stayed quietly at home every day, reading and resting well for the pregnancy. This was Jiu Ran's and my child, and we both cherished it deeply. But this peaceful life was shattered. 3 days before Jiu Ran's and my wedding, my parents came to see me in tears, bringing Mu Cheng with them. I stared at them, stunned. The first thing my parents said was, "Wan, please terminate this pregnancy. Don't marry Jiu Ran. Be with Mu Cheng instead." I took several steps back, disbelief washing over me. "Dad, Mom, are you insane? Have you lost your minds? Jiu Ran and I are about to get married. How can you say that?" Wan, I've gone bankrupt. I owe a huge amount of debt," my father pleaded. "If I can't repay this money, I'll go to jail. I've raised you all these years. Are you willing to watch your father go to prison? Please, save me." With that, both my parents burst into tears. My head throbbed with pain. I looked at Mu Cheng. "I'm pregnant, you know? Are you really willing to raise another man's child? And what about Tan Ki? Have you forgotten her?" Mu Cheng immediately grabbed my hand. "I don't love her. I only love you. Give me a chance. I'll take good care of you. I don't care that you've been pregnant. Could you please?" "No." I cut him off coldly. "Get out. I don't want to see you." I refused him vehemently, my emotions in turmoil. Perhaps because I was too agitated, I fainted. When I woke up, the nurse told me I had miscarried. I couldn't believe it. I could only cry, devastated by the loss of my child. My mind and body had suffered a tremendous blow. My parents were still by my side, urging me to be with Mu Cheng. I tuned them out. I wanted to wait for Jiu Ran to return. But after that, I never saw Jiu Ran again. His parents disappeared too. Jiu Ran blocked me. I couldn't contact him. He only asked a friend to cancel our wedding on his behalf. Unwilling to accept it, I stubbornly waited for Jiu Ran, ignoring Mu Cheng's and my parents' pleas, until Jiu Ran sent me a text message. It said he felt I was a burden and didn't want to suffer with me. He had gone abroad and hoped I wouldn't look for him. I didn't believe it. Crying and protesting, I insisted on finding Jiu Ran for an explanation. Mu Cheng just stayed by my side, begging me to reconsider. I cursed at Mu Cheng. "Why did you have to come back? Why can't you just die? I don't want to see you. Who wants to marry you?" I waited day after day, but Jiu Ran never came. I tried contacting my best friend, Jiu Yoi, but coincidentally, she was also caught up in a family dispute over inheritance and had essentially vanished. I had nowhere to turn. Finally, worn down by my parents' constant pressure and hopeless waiting, I resigned myself to fate. I married Mu Cheng. Mu Cheng excitedly took me to get our marriage certificate and held a grand wedding for me. But I couldn't muster any joy. The person who once made my heart leap now only filled me with disgust and resignation. Mu Cheng initiated intimacy with me on our wedding night. I felt sick. But thinking of my parents, who had practically knelt before me, I forced myself to endure it. Mu Cheng was very excited. He kept kissing me and whispering sweet nothings. I just stared blankly at the ceiling. From then on, I lived with Mu Cheng. Moreover, he seemed very eager to have a child. I secretly took birth control pills and never got pregnant. I thought, not having a child was my final line in the sand. If I really had a child with Mu Cheng, I would truly break down. I was terrified I wouldn't love that child. Days passed, dull but barely tolerable. I had already resigned myself to my fate, even considering that if nothing else, I could just make do with Mu Cheng. Until that night when my parents pressured me to bring soup to Mu Cheng at his company. In a secluded corner, I overheard Mu Cheng's conversation with a man. Mu Cheng asked, "How are things progressing with the Liu family?" The man replied, "Mr. Mu, these past few years, the previous deficits of the Liu family have been fully covered. You played it brilliantly, sir, luring your father-in-law to invest in that declining real estate, causing capital loss and forcing him to seek your investment. You quietly absorbed the Liu family's core assets and are now returning them. Your father-in-law trusts you even more, and Mrs. Mu is bound to love you even more deeply." I didn't hear the rest. My head spun, and everything went blurry. The food container fell from my hands, clattering loudly on the floor. The sound drew Mu Cheng's attention. He looked at me. I saw unprecedented panic flash across his face. He rushed forward, trying to grab my arm. One, get away from me. We're getting divorced as soon as we get home. I shoved his hand away and walked off without looking back. That night, when Mu Cheng came home, I showed him the prepared divorce papers. He refused, begging me relentlessly. During the struggle, in a fit of anger, I turned and jumped from the second-floor staircase. I just wanted to get away from him. When I woke up, Yoayu was by my side. She grabbed my hand, her face full of concern. One, how are you feeling? My voice was hoarse. Yoayu, I remember. Yoayu paused. You remember? Jiu ran. But he didn't want me. Tears fell. Jiu ran abandoned me long ago. Yoayu comforted me. Maybe there was some misunderstanding between you and Jiu Ran. I fell silent. I had also suspected that Jiu Ran might have been threatened by Mu Cheng in some way, forcing him to give me up. But I couldn't accept that he left without saying a word, abandoning me alone in this place to suffer by myself. I wiped my tears. It doesn't matter anymore, Yoi. Right now, I just want to divorce Mu Cheng. Okay, I'll help you. One, I will definitely help you get a divorce. Mu Cheng called me many times. His tone was pleading. One, can you please see me? I know it was my fault. I shouldn't have treated you that way back then. Give me a chance. I'll spend the rest of my life treating you well. As he spoke, his voice choked up. I replied coldly, Mu Cheng, I've said it many times. I, Lu Shiwan, do not want a man who betrayed me. Stop contacting me. Unless it's about divorce, we have nothing to discuss. On the other end of the line, Mu Cheng pleaded and sobbed for my forgiveness. Expressionless, I hung up. About a month later, on a very ordinary day, Mu Cheng suddenly called me. He sounded exhausted. One, I agree. Let's get a divorce. I paused, glancing at Yoai, who was watching a drama beside me. I didn't know what method Yoayu had used, but she had actually convinced Mu Cheng. On the day we went to get the divorce certificate, Yoayu, still worried, sent several bodyguards with me. I found it both funny and touching. Everything went smoothly. When I arrived, Mu Cheng was already waiting. Seeing me approach, he reached out to take my hand, but I subtly avoided it. My expression was cold. Let's go. The moment I held the divorce certificate, I felt an overwhelming sense of relief. Looking at the blue sky outside, I thought, is this what freedom feels like? I would never again have to endure a man I despised from the depths of my heart. As I prepared to leave, Mu Cheng, who had been silent the whole time, spoke. His voice was rough. One, we're about to part ways. Can you talk to me for a moment? I didn't want to engage and started walking away. We had nothing left to say. Ignoring the bodyguard's attempts to stop him, Mu Cheng stubbornly followed me. He pleaded, One, if I hadn't betrayed you back then, would you have married me? Please, just answer this one question. Please. I stopped walking. Probably, I said calmly. We grew up together. I really did love you once. As I walked away, I seemed to hear Mu Cheng's sobs behind me. But what did it matter? It had nothing to do with me anymore. I was finally free. Epilogue. After the divorce, I went abroad. My parents' accusations weighed heavily on me. It was around this time that a resume I had sent to a company overseas was accepted. I practically fled the country without looking back. Yoayu fully supported my decision. My time abroad felt liberating. The work was tiring, but the feeling of freedom made me feel alive again. I changed my phone number. Besides Yoayu, no one could reach me. According to Yoayu, Mu Cheng came looking for me. He was emotionally distraught, constantly asking about my whereabouts. Yoayu said triumphantly, I refused him point blank. That scumbag doesn't deserve to have your contact information. I laughed. Yes, good job refusing him. Life was peaceful. Then, on a perfectly ordinary day, I bought a coffee from the cafe downstairs as usual and was heading home. Suddenly, a familiar figure appeared before me. I stared blankly at the man smiling at me from across the street. Still as sunny, still as warm. Just like the day we first met all those years ago. My phone in my bag was ringing. Numbly I answered. It was Yoayu. 1-1, Gu Ram came to see me. He begged me, so I gave him your work address. Maybe you two should meet and talk. I couldn't really hear the rest of what Yoayu said. My eyes were fixed only on this man. The man I had thought about day and night for so long. He hurried toward me. The next moment I was pulled into a familiar, warm embrace. Jiran's tears fell onto my neck. I heard his familiar voice. 1-1, I'm sorry. I made you wait so long. Mu Cheng's side story. It's been 3 years since 1-1 and I separated. 3 years ago, after regaining her memory, 1-1 demanded a divorce. I refused. But her mental state at home deteriorated day by day. Still, I was unwilling to let go. I kept thinking that if I tried a little harder, we could be together. Her determination to leave was firm, and Ju Yuiwi was always there protecting her. I knew I couldn't drag it out any longer. I agreed to the divorce. 1-1 and I were childhood sweethearts, growing up side by side. We were supposed to be a pair, grow up together, fall in love, get married, and have a child born of our love. So why did I ruin everything? Why did 1-1 and I end up at a point of no return? I fell in love with 1-1 during my 3rd year of high school. 1-1 was 2 years younger than me. She was innocent and pure. I knew clearly that I loved her. I tutored her, stood up for her, always thought of her first. When I first entered university, I even told her to come find me. But soon after starting university, the dazzling new world overwhelmed me. I met Tanqi. Tanqi was a girl completely different from 1-1. She was bold, outgoing, and beautiful. I couldn't resist her temptation. My feelings shifted. I became completely immersed in Tanqi's affections, forgetting about 1-1, who was still studying hard in high school. During my 3rd year of university, Tanqi broke up with me over a study abroad opportunity. I was devastated. It was around that time that 1-1 started university. On an ordinary day, she shyly confessed her feelings to me. At the time I thought, since I've lost Tanqi, why not? So, 1-1 became my distraction after losing Tanqi. When I was with 1-1, I wasn't very invested. Perhaps because I got her too easily, I didn't feel the need to cherish her. Half a year later, Tanqi returned. My attention was instantly captivated by the glamorous Tanqi again. I didn't hold my ground. I cheated and abandoned 1-1. Later, I often wondered why I had been so cruel back then. At the very beginning, I had sworn to give 1-1 the best life, to make her the happiest girl in the world. Not only did I fail, but I also hurt her deeply. During my time abroad with Tanqi, for some reason, I could never bring myself to take that final step with her. I often thought of 1-1, of her eyes filled with pain and despair. I deliberately avoided news about 1-1, but I couldn't stop thinking about her. Year after year, I finally realized I probably still couldn't forget 1-1. I still loved 1-1. When I decided to break up with Tanqi, she slapped me hard, crying. She spat venomously. Mu Cheng, you are the most disgusting man in the world. When you were with Liu Shiwan, you couldn't forget me. When you're with me, you think of her. Someone as fickle as you deserves to lose the one you love. Liu Shiwan wait for you. Back then, I didn't realize Tanqi's words would prove prophetic. After returning to the country, the first thing I did was look for 1-1. At the university gate, I saw her, and she saw me. I thought 1-1 would hate me, would curse me. I was even prepared for a long pursuit. But I never expected that when she saw me again, there was no love, no hatred in her eyes, just a calmness bordering on indifference. In that moment, I sensed something slipping through my fingers. What shattered me even more was the appearance of another man. He held 1-1 intimately, and she affectionately called him husband. At that moment, I felt like I had fallen into hell. I was ice cold. I don't remember what happened afterward, what I said, or how I left. I even felt some resentment. Why didn't 1-1 wait for me? We were childhood sweethearts. We were supposed to be together, weren't we? Like a rat in the sewer, I often watched the two of them. I found out they were living together. Living together. It was a devastating blow. I couldn't bear the thought that the girl who once loved only me now had her heart and eyes full of someone else, even sharing a bed with him. My girl was in another man's arms, freely enjoying love. And I had never even taken that step with Won. I told myself to stay calm. Only by staying calm could I win Won back. Later, Won got pregnant. Perhaps I had been hit too many times. After hearing the news, I quickly calmed down. In that moment, a plan formed in my mind. I would take Won back by force. I had someone lure Won's father with huge profits into investing in a sunset industry. Won's father took the bait. Soon after, I approached Ji-ran. I told Ji-ran some stories about Won's and my childhood, how we had loved each other. Ji-ran was unimpressed, even smiling as he said he trusted Won. I told Ji-ran that Won's father owed a massive debt and would go to jail if he couldn't repay it. I knew Ji-ran's family couldn't save Won. Ji-ran was stunned at first, then firmly told me he would stand by Won. I looked at Ji-ran with a smile. He was too naive. Money problems couldn't be solved by true love alone. Soon, his parents couldn't hold on. Under my repeated pressure, they forcibly took him away. Not long after that, Won lost the baby. The final obstacle was gone. Full of love, I proposed to Won, but she remained unmoved. Finally, under her parents' persuasion, Won agreed to marry me. The few years living with Won were the happiest of my life. Even though she was cold, even cruel to me, waking up with her in my arms every morning felt fulfilling. I always thought, we have so much time. We'll live together for so many years. Surely one day she'll love me again. But reality is often harsh. She secretly took birth control pills, I knew. I told myself to be patient, to wait for her to come back to me. Until the day she overheard my conversation with my subordinate. Everything fell apart. Won learned about my scheming. Her spirit shattered. In her agitation, she jumped from the second floor. Fortunately, it wasn't a high fall. She lost all her memories. I was overjoyed. If she forgot, did it mean we could start over? But she was still cold to me, even without her memories. She even told me clearly she didn't love me. She was indifferent to Tanki's appearance, found my affections disgusting. Even because she couldn't divorce me, her mental state grew worse. Once, late at night, I saw her standing alone on the third-floor landing, looking down as if about to jump the next second. Trembling, I carried her back inside. I took her to the hospital, but her condition didn't improve. I was powerless. Later, Ju Yoi appeared. She took Won away. Won regained her memories. Because of our ongoing marriage, her mental state deteriorated day by day. Ju Yoi told me, if you don't leave her, she'll die. She's already tried to kill herself several times. The words, "she die," extinguished any thought of holding her captive. I let her go. On the day she left, I asked her through tears. Won admitted she had once loved me. In that moment, bitterness and regret flooded my heart. But there are no second chances in this world. I could only watch as she gradually left my world. Today is her wedding day. I just didn't expect the groom wouldn't be Ji-ran. In the end, I lost, and Ji-ran lost too. Yes. Won told me she never looks back. Ji-ran's side story. I've loved Won for many years. It was at a competition in high school that I first met Won. Back then, her smile was bright and innocent. It was love at first sight. From that moment on, I started paying attention to her. We weren't in the same high school, so I asked around about her. I was even planning to approach her, but I accidentally found out she had a childhood sweetheart she liked. I quietly tucked away my admiration. I decided to watch over her from afar, to be there for her when she needed me. When it was time for college entrance exams, driven by some inexplicable impulse, I applied to the same university as her childhood sweetheart. A subconscious voice told me she would apply there too. I guessed right. Won entered that university, and also started dating her childhood sweetheart, Mu Cheng. It hurt for a long time, but I still wished for her happiness. But that scoundrel Mu Cheng, how could he betray her? A girl I would have held in the palm of my hand, and he treated her feelings so carelessly. I finally decided to make my move. My original intention was to accidentally meet her while riding my bicycle, but I didn't expect to actually collide. Won fainted due to low blood sugar. That collision also brought us together. I started pursuing her actively. Luckily, Won seemed to like me too. I think the day she accepted my confession was the happiest day of my life. I finally, as I wished, became Wonwon's boyfriend. I wanted to give her everything beautiful in the world. The years with Wonwon were filled with beautiful days. We even moved in together. But that beautiful time came to an abrupt halt the day Mu Cheng reappeared. After being with Wonwon for so long, I never doubted her love for me. But from the predatory look in Mu Cheng's eyes, I sensed danger. Still, it was okay. Wonwon was pregnant. I was truly overjoyed back then. The happiness of marrying Wonwon almost overwhelmed me. But then, Mu Cheng struck. I couldn't save Wonwon's family, but I was unwilling to give up. My parents pressured me to go abroad and leave Wonwon, but I always believed I could see her through this. In the end, under my parents' relentless pressure, I compromised and went abroad with them. Later, I often sneaked back to China, watching over Wonwon from a distance. I knew Wonwon wasn't happy, but I was powerless. I knew I was a cowardly wretch. Finally, one day, Wonwon got divorced. I almost rushed abroad to find Wonwon with wild joy. I thought, I finally have a chance to be with her again. I held Wonwon and wept. But on that sunny day, Wonwon gently pushed me away with a smile. She said, "Ji Ran." I told Mu Cheng that I, Liu Shiwan, never look back. The same applies to you. She smiled and said, "Ji Ram, we missed our chance." Yes, we missed it. How could I ever be worthy of her? From the moment I chose to give up on her, I became unworthy. Later, she got married to a very accomplished overseas Chinese. According to Zhu Youo, that man loves Wonwon deeply, much more than Mu Cheng or I ever did. I remained silent. On Wonwon's wedding day, I watched her in her beautiful wedding dress, smiling through tears at another man. They kissed amidst the cheers and blessings of the crowd. It was a scene I had fantasized about countless times. It's just a shame that, in the end, I couldn't hold on to my initial resolve to love Wonwon. I lost her completely. End of story.